Hello, how is everybody doing today? KT here with Wise Images Photography, and today we are going to go over how do you get those nice, smooth backgrounds. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a little bit of, a little mix and match here. I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm actually going to make this video into two parts, because the first part, I want to don't even worry about camera settings. Let's not even get into the technical aspect of things. This is actually what I noticed first before I started getting into the technical things. So I kind of wanted to share with you guys some of the things that I was figuring out with my camera prior to actually figuring out the technical stuff. So let's go ahead and talk about that first. So let's get going. All right, first things first. We need to go ahead and separate our subject from the background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a couple of pictures, and what do I mean by this? All right, so let's look at this first picture. You notice that there is a cute little bird on a stick. And if you look behind the bird, it is super creamy. You cannot tell what really is behind this bird because of how creamy the background is between the background itself up here in the brown area and then the bird where the stick is. Now you can notice that everything that's kind of in its focal point is in focus. You notice off to the right that there is obviously, it looks like a tree here. It has not much detail. It's still very, very bokeh'd out. That's what they call when you get that nice creamy background. It's called the bokeh. And so you can tell that the tree is a little bit closer. The detail, it's still pretty far away. So you're really still not getting any detail there. But you're getting more detail off of that than you are what is further behind it, which is probably some kind of tall wheatgrass or something like that. I don't know if it's necessarily wheatgrass, but you're getting that tall brown grass that's a little bit further behind this bird. Now, when I go to the next one, you can tell that once again, you have a little bird on a stick, and behind him are all these grasses, and you can tell that it's pretty blurred out, and that's because the distance between where the bird is and the background is further apart. So if it was closer, you would be seeing more detail, but as you take that background and put that background, or if you pull your subject away from the background, you're going to get that bokeh effect. Now, the other thing that was going on with these two particular images, if you notice, this little is further away from my camera. However, when you look back at this first picture, I do think this was probably, I want to say it's a yellow romped warbler, but I'm not 100% sure. But this little guy was closer to me. So you have your bird is closer to you and the background is far away. That also will help with the effect of the bokeh and that creamy background that you get. So look back at notice that the bird is further away, whereas with our warbler here, the bird is closer. So that's another thing. So not only do you want to make sure that you separate your subject from the background, so you want to give some distance, but then also from the bird to the background, or your subject to the background, right? Because the same kind of technology, or not technology, the same kind of technique is going to work for when you have human beings or dogs or whatnot. All right, so moving right along, so we have the distance from the subject to the background. And then we also have the distance to the actual subject. Next up, you're going to see another picture here, and this is not an overly great picture, but you can tell because the eagle is flying away from me. But I pulled this one because you can tell that, look at how far that bird is away from me, and you can start seeing some of the background, like it changed in regards to distance to the subject. This bird is even further away than probably what that was, and then you can tell that the background isn't as blurred out as it was with eagle. So looking at the distance of your subject is to your camera is another way to make sure that you adjust to get that nice bokeh that you're looking for, that nice creamy background. The next bit is actually about getting on eye level. So what do I mean? And why would I even say get on eye level? So let's say, for example, that we have our ground right here, okay? Now, if I were to shoot down on a bird, like in this picture that you guys see here, what's happening? Well, looking at my arms, if I'm shooting down on this bird, notice that this direct line of sight is going right into the ground. Well, that's exactly that last concept that we just talked about. We talked about putting more distance between your subject and the background. So if I were to pop back up and go eye level with this bird, notice that now it's almost like a straight parallel. And so it changes the trajectory. Thus, by moving down on eye level with this bird, now you've made it where the background is further away. So we look at this bird. I mean, I like the fact that he's got his wings up. I think that's so cool. I like the fact that I can see his little feet. But nothing is blurred out. This next shot of this duck. I'm not very good at identifying my ducks, by the way. So if you guys want to tell me what the name of these ducks are, that would be fantastic. I think they're the green-tealed winged duck, if I'm correct, but I'm not 100% sure. All right, but when you notice that this second picture of this duck, notice that I've gotten lower. I'm still a little bit high. I'm not completely eye level with this bird because I'm like kind of stuck on this dock and there isn't enough of a gap for me to stick my head in and go down low, right? So you notice that I am lower. So you are seeing on the top here, you are seeing there's a little bit of bokeh there, and there's also a little bit of bokeh in the front. And the bird's plane that he's on, his focal point, you know, he's in focus. So you can see that there was just a little bit of adjustment there. So the first picture, you see that there's really not much bokeh going on at all. You can see a little bit more bokeh here. And then when you look at this third picture, now this is a completely different bird here. This is a snowy egret. Now notice that I am on eye level with this bird. Notice that the background is very much so blurred out. Not completely smooth, but it is definitely a lot more smoother than the looks of the other ones. Of course, they didn't have little grasses behind them, but even the water, you can tell there's a little bit of water and greenery right behind this bird here in the back, and you can tell that that is definitely smoothed out, and that's all because I got on eye level. When you look at this next photo, I'm on eye level with this bird. So being on eye level with him, it allowed that background to be a little bit further out, and that's why the grasses behind this bird are all blurred out. If you guys are liking this and this is helping you out, please make sure that you go ahead and give it a like and then share it with your friends if you think it's gonna help your friends out. So to recap this last little bit of this video is one, make sure that you're separating your subject from the background. The closer your subject is to the background, the harder it's going to be. And actually, you know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and pop in one other photo. I don't even know what photo it's gonna be. And whatever photo it is, I'm gonna show you how when everything is closer together, that you can tell that you are not able to go ahead and get that bokeh. Like, for example, when you have those birds that are in the middle of a bush, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and throw a picture in here so that you guys can see that, so that way you have that visualization of, okay, KT was telling me earlier about making sure I put distance in the subject. This is what happens when my subject and my background are very close to each other. Secondly, make sure that your subject is closer to you. That will help with that separation of the background as well. And that will also help with the bokeh. And then last but not least, make sure that you guys get on eye level with your subject. That will also help to increase your chances of bokeh. All right, so the next time that I talk with you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and go over more of the technical aspects of this. I'm gonna go over the aperture. I'm also gonna go ahead and go over the lenses a little bit more with you. And then that way you guys can kind of also combine all of these techniques together so that you can get the creamiest background that you want to get. Now, does the creamiest background mean the best background? Not necessarily. I totally love this cormorant sitting there with his wings spread wide open with the other birds slightly out of focus depending on how far away they are. Because if you notice on the cormorant photo, you know, the snowy egret over here on the far right hand side, he's a little bit out of focus, not completely out of focus, but if you look in the far back where we have a great egret in the back, right, he's super out of focus. I love the fact that there is a little bit of detail with those grasses because it helps to tell the scene of what's going on. So I do think that it is okay to have a little bit of detail going on, but you know, it's all about art. It's about photography. It's about what do you want to convey in your image. So it's you know, very subjective, so to speak. So I want to just give you guys the tools so that you can find your method. What do you like most about the photography? What is your style and whatnot? So anyways, next time we meet, I will definitely go a little bit more on the technical side, but today, non-technical, easy peasy stuff, you guys. I want you to remember that you are awesome. I want you to have a fantastic rest of your week, and I'll see you later, alligator.